How's it going, everyone? Yosef back here with another video, and I hope you're having an amazing week so far. Today we get to do something extra special, and that is we are going to check out the replacement for the Lamborghini Huracan, and that is the Lamborghini Temerario. And I'm so excited to do this. So we're going to hop in the Golf R. We're going to go for a little drive to Lamborghini Miami to check it out. But before we get into the video, if you're new to the channel, my name is Yosef. I happen to be a car enthusiast with 3 kids, and I used to sell cars in the past. So if you're interested in my perspective, please subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notifications so that you get notified every time I post a really awesome video like this one. All right, now on with the video. All right, so we just got here to Lamborghini Miami, and I'm so excited to take a look and finally see for the first time in the sheet metal the Lamborghini Temerario. So let's go inside and check it out. All right, so here we go, taking a look at the Temerario for the first time, and I have to say it looks so different in person than it does when you watch it on video and you see the reviews online. What's so special about it is when you take a look at it up close and personal, you see all the different aero features and the design features that they've got, and it just looks so unique and so creative. The Huracan was a great looking car, but this, it really does take it up a notch. Some people complain that it's not as good looking or as crazy looking as the Huracan, but when you see this thing up close and personal, I beg to differ. From afar, it does look a little subdued, but when you take a look at all the different cuts and vents and active air that we've got on here, it really does look special. And you can tell that it's got the DNA of the Huracan, but it's been uplifted a little bit. It's been tucked in and matured and really fits in with the new design language of the Revuelto. So let's kick things off by talking about the powertrain, because this thing is incredibly powerful. And it puts out about 907 horsepower and close to 540 pound-feet of torque. But what's really interesting is it's a hybrid. You've got 3 electric motors in here paired up to that twin-turbo V8, and 2 of those electric motors power the front wheels. So 1 for each wheel, and then you've got another one that's connected to the back wheels just to help out with the torque and fill in wherever that twin-turbo V8 needs a little more assistance. So basically, this Temerario has an all-wheel drive system. It's incredible that they've been able to put so much technology in the powertrain and not just a simple big old V10. Now, I know a lot of people are sad about losing the V10 in the Huracan that we had, but I have to say this thing sounds amazing from what I've heard so far. Maybe one day we'll get a chance to drive one. And a lot of supercars are downgrading their engines to V8s, but with the turbocharging and with the electric motors, this thing has got to be wildly fast. And the cool thing is, if you take a look, the engine cover here has a bunch of holes. Everything's exposed, just like in the Revuelto. It's amazing that even with the elements here getting in there, it doesn't affect the powertrain at all. And because we can see through it, you'll notice that on this plaque where it says V8, it actually has the firing order for the cylinders, which is so cool. It's very typical Lamborghini, but it's nice to see that that's exposed and it's easily visible. Okay, so let's talk about pricing. And this thing starts at around $390,000 US, and I can only imagine what the options list will go up to if you were to spec this out completely. But that is a lot more expensive than the Huracan was when it launched back in 2015. The Huracan, for its base model when it first launched, was around $250,000 US. So quite a jump. I know there's a little bit of inflation built in there, but well, the question is it going to be worth it? So let's take a look at the styling, and I'm going to put a side-by-side here so you can see how the Temerario looks relative to its predecessor, the Huracan. And to be honest with you, when I first saw pictures of this thing, I wasn't a huge fan. I thought it just looked a little boring, not as crazy as the Huracan, but now that I see it up close and personal, it really is incredible. There are so many great styling features here. For example, if you take a look at the front end, you've got this giant carbon fiber front splitter over here. You've got a lot of openings over there for the radiators, and you've got this floating LED daytime running light hexagon just in the center over there, which looks so cool. And behind it, you can see an exposed radiator, and that just looks incredible. It's so much more exciting looking and different from the Huracan. The Huracan before was very sloped and very closed off in the front. There wasn't a whole lot going on there until they brought out the Technica and the STO, where they really opened things up. But over here, you've got a lot of space for air to travel around the vehicle, a lot of aero built into that front end. And one really cool thing that you would never notice unless you were up close to it is this front bumper piece that sticks out actually has an opening in the bottom that allows air to travel through where the front headlights are and over the hood, which is such a cool thing to see. And take a look at those headlights. They're recessed all the way in there, and they're so slim, so angry and aggressive looking. It looks great. Taking a look at the side profile of the Temerario, you'll notice that it shares a similar profile to the Huracan that it replaces, but you've got a lot of differences in terms of styling over here. You've got this huge intake at the side, right behind the driver's door, and you've got another one just above it, this triangular shape. And that's really cool because as you take a look at the profile of the car here, you've got the wind and the air flowing all the way over this front haunch, past the mirrors, and straight into that vent in the back. And to me, that vent really reminds me of the Murcielago with its bat wings. One other really cool detail over here that you might not notice is that Lamborghini has recessed the door handles over here. So they're kind of sitting flush with the bodywork, and it's hidden. So now when you look at the side profile of this thing, you don't have this ugly door handle that's kind of poking out the side. It's hidden just below this curve, which looks so cool. As you know, Lamborghini's all about the hexagons, and even the fuel filler cap is in the shape of a hexagon. That's so cool. And these wheels look absolutely phenomenal. They're enormous. And check out the carbon ceramic brakes behind there. Of course, this is the Lamborghini, and we've got to have painted calipers. And you've got the beautiful Lamborghini script over there. It just looks phenomenal. Moving to the back end of the Temerario, there's so much to talk about over here. So I'm going to try and get my thoughts in order over here. So we're going to start with the top. You've got some active aero over here. You've got a spoiler that lifts up, which looks really nice, but it's not just that gives you some aero. You've got these cutouts over here that just helps the engine breathe and again move the air from inside the engine bay. And you've got all these crazy cutouts at the top over here that looks so cool. And again, the exposed engine bay. And this part over here, just looking back, really reminds me of the Countach. It's so interesting how they're carrying forward some of the styling cues from the different models of the past and bring them into the modern era. And you'll notice down here that you've got a cutaway from the bumper, which looks so cool because you've got the exposed rear tire, which not only lets everybody behind you see how fat these tires are, but it also helps with the airflow and diffusing the air from under the Temerario as you're driving along at high speeds. And what's really cool is you've got your rear reflector over there and your parking sensor, but you've got this big open space back here as well. Another radiator to help cool the engine and the oil, which looks so cool. And of course, the taillights are hexagonal shapes because you've got to go along with that styling feature. And if we take a look just to the middle section over here, you've got a very cool center mounted exhaust. And if you'll notice, this looks very similar to the Revuelto. You've got, of course, this big hexagonal shape around it, but deep inside, you'll notice that you've got the two exhaust pipes buried deep inside. And you've got a lot of these slashes and cuts back here, which just add to the styling. It looks so cool. And a little lower down, you can see you've got this massive diffuser, and it goes so deep underneath the Temerario. It's hard to see it on camera over here, but that just looks amazing. And your reverse light is this tiny little LED light right over there. And you've got this F1 style reflector in the back, which just looks so cool. And this entire piece is one giant slab of carbon fiber. So is it better looking than the Huracan? Well, I'll leave that up to you, but in my opinion, absolutely. And the number one question people are always going to ask is it a true Lamborghini with its crazy styling? Because Lamborghinis have always been about making you feel like a child inside. And does this thing look crazy enough to be the successor for the Huracan? Well, in my opinion, absolutely. All right, so let's take a look at the inside of the all-new Temerario. And when we open the door, you're greeted with this amazing looking door card. I mean, the entire thing is lined with Alcantara. It just looks so cool. And then, of course, we've got our soft touch materials over here. You've got carbon fiber just around the switchgear, and check that out. These window buttons look so cool. And the funny thing is, the mirror control over here comes straight out of the Volkswagen Audi products. That's how you can tell this is a Volkswagen Audi Group product. But look at the door reliefs. This is so cool. And I love the way we've got these interesting designs on the speaker grates. Those look so nice. And it's metal. It's not just a plastic speaker grate. And of course, when you look a little lower down, you've got a lit up carbon fiber skid plate over here that says Temerario. And if we take a look at the seats, you'll notice that you've got the Lamborghini logo stitched into the headrest, which is so cool. And these seats look amazingly comfortable. I love the design for them, and I'm sure there are going to be some other special edition versions that we can get after with different options for the seats, but it is really nice that we've got our automatic seat controls over here, so it is electric. I know some performance vehicles, they strip out all of that stuff and they just go straight to manual adjustments. All right, so sitting behind the wheel of the Temerario, you'll notice that we've got this beautiful carbon fiber and leather wrapped steering wheel. It's so chunky and feels great in the hand. You've got these really nice physical buttons. A lot of vehicles are moving to touch screens. Even Ferrari has kind of taken away a lot of the physical buttons and moved to touch controls, but Lamborghini is stuck true to its design and has given us all these really nice physical buttons, and they feel great to touch. They feel like they came straight out of an Audi product, which is a very nice thing. Even this drive mode selector over here is so cool to toggle between, and you can put it directly into race mode over there. You even have a nose lift over here, so you can very easily address that. If you're going over speed bumps or driving this thing around the city, you don't have to worry about scraping that beautiful carbon fiber splitter in the front, because you can raise the front axle, which is great. It's nice to have this stuff right on the steering wheel. Even your turn signals are over here on the steering wheel, so you don't have to reach behind and grab any other dial or lever. Everything is right where you'd expect it, so when you're driving fast, you don't have to take your hands off the steering wheel at all. One really cool thing about this is the traction control system allows you to do drifts, but you can control the angle of those drifts with this dial. So if you wanted to show off a little bit more, just put that on the maximum and it'll let you drift as much as you want without getting into too much trouble. Or you can just drift a little bit if you want to have a little more control and get a better lap time. That is a really great feature. Of course, we've got torque vectoring in here, and one of the unique features about this V8 that a lot of people don't realize is that it revs up to 10,000 RPM. So all of those people with their 911 GT3s and GT3 RSs that are like, oh, look at me, my engine revs to 9,000 RPM. This Temerario with a twin turbo V8 can beat that, and I'm sure it sounds amazing. We'll have to test that out one day, but for now, it is cool to know that this thing can go up to 10,000 RPM with a turbocharged V8. That is unbelievable. And you've got this beautiful cutaway over here and flat bottom, and of course we've got the Italian flag etched in over there, which looks so cool. Because this is a performance car, you've got these beautiful paddle shifters, again, all made out of carbon fiber, and almost everything around here is carbon fiber. You'll notice even the areas around the air vents over here, also somewhat of a hexagonal shape, and you've got, again, those carbon fiber weave all the way around. Even the instrument cluster over here is carbon fiber, and you see those exposed bolts, which look so cool. Of course, it's a digital gauge cluster, and again, very reminiscent of the Huracan. Nothing too different there, but a detail that you might not even notice is even the column for the steering wheel is full carbon fiber. That's not something you see in a lot of vehicles. Most of the time, this is just cheap plastic, and it's hidden away from everyone's view, so nobody really cares, but Lamborghini has gone the extra mile to put carbon fiber around there. And moving to the instrument cluster over here, one thing that's so cool is this thing is basically floating. You've got this little area over here with your USB charge ports, and you've got a beautiful new screen. Unlike the Huracan, which was a little bit smaller, this Temerario opens things up just a bit more, and you've got this very cool looking design over here, very angular and kind of juts out. Those are the air vents for the center of the vehicle, and over here you'll notice not only do we have a little pad for your knee, which again was similar in the Huracan, but you've got some beautiful leather wrap stitching over here. You've got, again, a whole slab of carbon fiber, and everything has these little switches over them. So to press everything is a sense of occasion. It's not just pressing a button. You've got these really cool looking, almost fighter jet style like buttons, which just looks so cool, and they feel really nice to press as well. In the Huracan, everything felt a little bit cheaper, but over here, they really dialed up the quality. And again, when you're taking a look at how to shift this thing in gear, you've got this giant lever for putting this into reverse, park, and you've got your manual driving settings over there. It just looks really nice, very sharp, very updated and modern, but again, sticking very much to the way Lamborghini has been designing cars for a while. And you've got another little armrest over here, nothing that opens up, but another little pad where you can store stuff, and some netting behind the seats if you wanted to store things away from the center area. Something that's new for the Temerario is you've got another little screen over here for the passenger, and I know that you can put some information over there so your passenger can get an idea of how fast you're going, all the performance details, which looks really nice. And you've got, again, another slab of carbon fiber up, and this whole top mounted piece is Alcantara. It's all covered in this really nice suede material, and you've got beautiful stitching over here. And I know this is going to be one of those vehicles that you can customize endlessly. So if you're going to order one and you're here in Lamborghini of Miami, you'll be able to go through all the different speccing options to get exactly what you want. Taking a look a little bit higher up, you'll see that you've got a really nice rimless mirror over here. You've got your center controls for all of your dome lights. This is pretty basic, nothing too exciting. It does look very Audi-esque. And of course, you've got this beautiful suede headliner, the Alcantara up here. That just looks really nice and soft. Another really cool thing to note over here is you've got, of course, a glove box down here, and it's nice to have a glove box in a car like this. Not every performance vehicle has a glove box, so very grateful for that. And one other hidden feature over here, this thing actually has some cup holders for the passengers, but they're hidden behind this really nice piece of Alcantara trim. And if we press on it, it pops open and you can pop out these really cool looking cup holders, and they are relatively small and they are expandable. So if you wanted to have a larger drink, you can do that, or you can keep them nice and small, and they feel pretty good, not super strong. So hopefully you don't have a very heavy drink in there, but they are very cool, very over-engineered. And when you close this, you'll actually close up that center section and keep the cup holders in place. So you don't have to look at the ugly interior of where the cup holders rest. No, you can cover that up and just keep your cup holders out. And there's another one for the passenger over there, which is a little difficult for me to reach, but what a great way of innovating in cup holders without cluttering up the center console area over here. That's very reminiscent of Porsche. I know they used to do those on the 911s, and it's really great that that's carried forward over here. Now, sitting behind the wheel of this Temerario and, really experiencing what it's like in the interior over here, I have to say the seats are very, very comfortable. I wasn't sure looking at them. They looked a little bit firm, but honestly, they're very supportive, they're very comfortable, and it's nice because they hold you in place really well, but not in an uncomfortable sort of way. It's not too much. I would imagine that if you're a bit of a larger person, it might be less comfortable for you sitting in here, but the ergonomics are really nice. I love the way they've really upgraded the interior over here. The Huracan was a little bit cheap feeling on the inside, to be honest with you. A lot of the toggle switches and the finishes were made out of plastic, even though it's, over $200,000 vehicle. It just left a little bit to be desired. It looked great, but once you started touching things and playing around with things, you realize that it's not quite as high quality as you might expect. This Temerario has taken things to the next level. Everything feels very sophisticated. It feels very mature, and it honestly is put together really well. You've got a lot of that Alcantara, you've got a lot of leather, a lot of stitching, a lot of carbon fiber, and it just makes you feel like you're in a special vehicle. It's so cool and it's so unique. You have to sit in here to really experience it. Looking at it online and seeing the pictures really doesn't do it justice. So I'm so grateful that Lamborghini Miami has given me the opportunity to sit inside this Temerario and give you this review. So anyways, I hope you've enjoyed the video. It would be great to drive this thing. Hopefully we will one day, but for now, it's been a lot of fun taking you on this tour of this beautiful new Temerario, the replacement for the Huracan. And I hope you found this video helpful and entertaining. And if you have, give me a subscribe, give me a like, comment down below what you think. Is this a true Lamborghini? Is it a good replacement for the Huracan that's been beloved and loved by so many people? In my opinion, absolutely. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Well, that's a wrap. Thank you again so much to Lamborghini of Miami and Prestige Imports for the incredible hospitality and giving me the opportunity of checking out this beautiful Temerario. If you are in South Florida, in the Miami area, looking to get a Lamborghini or just a really amazing exotic car, you have to check them out. They are an unbelievable group of people and they have an amazing inventory. Every time I come here, there's something special, something new that you get to see in the showroom. So definitely check them out. Thank you again so much for watching, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.